So it's a beautiful day here in Toronto, and the air quality, the warnings have finally been lifted. So it's nice outside, and the church was quite full today for the Monday, for the morning mass. For today, for my friends who are following me, I'm going to give you some examples of things that I've learned from being in Canada, and hopefully it helps you. So over here there's a big push for people to volunteer, and when I was studying at Regis College, one of the ladies, she told me, don't volunteer. I said to her, why? She said, no, because it's free labor. That's how they get things done here. I said, okay, but I don't have anything to do. I'll be sitting at home. And if you look at my life here, for 12 years, like if I had had a family or I had children to look after or something, it would be different. But 12 years sitting at home, when you're independent, you're single, you're free to travel, to explore other countries, it doesn't make sense. And so what they do here is they watch your posts. So they watch your social media, they watch what you're doing, and then they invite you. They say, come and see. Because you're so good that they notice you. They pay attention and they say, okay, you know what, that person would be a good person to put in this position. And that's exactly how it's done. So in the African community, when you're growing up in Zimbabwe, it's the opposite way. So your parents will go to the priest or they'll go to the employer or whoever, and they'll say, you know, my son, my daughter, we want to get them involved in the church, and can you help? Can you consider them for something? And then from the volunteering, you go into paid employment in your community. Over here, it's actually the priests, it's the people who are leading. They are the ones who invite you. Even at Blessed Sacrament, I don't offer to do anything. I never offered to do anything in the church. I just used to go to Mass and enjoy the Mass, worship God, and come home. And then one day Father Larry approached me and he said to me, I want you to start reading if you like, because I think it would be a good fit for you. So that's how I started reading in the church, and then when he had enough people or he wanted me to do something else, then he switched me out from there to do something else. But I'm a reader. I'm a minister of the word. I read at Mass. That's my main ministry. And then when he has enough people, he puts me into other things. So I help with the children's liturgy. I help with the Eucharistic ministry. I help with cleaning the churches. Sometimes, if it's not here, sometimes it's at St. Basil's or the Newman Center. But wherever I go, whichever parish I go to, at the Newman Center, at St. Basil's, within the Diocese of Toronto, they always ask me to read, to proclaim the word. So that's something that I do. And then also facilitating retreats. So they'll put messages out. If you want to get involved, watch X, what used to be Twitter, because that's the place where they'll put the call. They'll ask people, like, we need people to write the prayers of petition for the year that are coming up for the church, or for the Stations of the Cross, or to lead retreats. They call for people on X, and that's how I got involved. That's how I got chosen for helping with the Lenten retreat for the Jesuits in Britain. There was 1 year where the Jesuits in Scotland asked for lay people to help to facilitate. I didn't get too many people because they chose people for me that were in Australia and Philippines, and the time difference was too big. So even though I tried to coordinate it so we could all meet to share our faith, sometimes people couldn't meet, and it landed up being just two of us, me and another lady from the Philippines, because I had people also in America and I had people here from Canada, and that's too big of a time difference. So if you want to get involved in something like that, keep an eye out on X, because that's generally where they'll put the advertisements, they'll put the requests out there. And it's the same thing with volunteering for like Out of the Cold, Covenant House. Those calls came through the church. So the priest will announce, or whoever's leading that organization, they'll announce, they'll say that we need people to come and help us to get involved in volunteering. And it was the same thing with the One campaign. I wasn't doing anything for them. They invited me. And so the idea behind it is that you volunteer, you help others, and then because you're networking with the politicians, with the leaders of the world, your life is supposed to come up. You're supposed to get chosen for the good jobs, the opportunities. You're supposed to have doors open for you, not doors closed for you like happened to us. And here in Canada, there was a big pushback against this international aid, because people think I'm joking when I'm saying that Canada is like a third world country. I'm not joking, because there is a big pushback against international aid because people here are struggling. People can't put food on the table. People don't have jobs. People can't come up in life. And when you do get a job or you do have a home, what happens is what happened to me. You get put into short contracts, low wages, and then you'll end up losing that place because the banks won't help you keep it. So it was very hard to get any kind of buy-in, including from the church. I often asked at the church, can I get petitions signed and all that? And they just say, we'll see. But it never went ahead because of this, what's happening to people in Canada. Because a lot of people who come to my church are like me. They're out of work, they're poor, they can't get jobs. So it's very difficult to go and ask them to sign petitions and cards and all this for people in Africa when our own families are struggling in the church and can't get work, including me. So I had to just take it out like onto the street. I asked for some signatures here, and I had to do it that way. But the bulk of our signatures came from going to events. We would organize events like at the music festivals, at places where Bill Mono was having events, or some of these other politicians, and we would ask for a table there, and then we would go there and get the signatures. And the reality is that without us volunteers, that organization will collapse. That One campaign will not exist. So people get very upset with Bono because when we invite him to come, he doesn't come. And then to make it worse, he sends messages that he loves me. And he knows that I don't have money, I don't have a job. He knows I've been applying for jobs with them, and he does nothing to help. So people are disgusted with this. Nobody likes it. But this is just to show you, this is how the volunteering gets done. And some people, once they get that volunteer work going, then from there they get support for their companies. And then they start selling things and all that. But that's how they do it here in Canada. So it's a completely opposite way of how we do it in Africa. And they actually get offended. Like when I went and I left a box of chocolates at Credit Suisse, even though I had the permission of the whole team, from the CEO to the other executive assistants, they sent me a cease and desist. So it always comes out of nowhere. I'm always shocked at how they treat me. Because if the executive had said, no, you know what, Belinda, don't leave that box of chocolates. We'll organize a meeting. We're in a meeting now. We'll organize a meeting and you can come back and then you can see us and leave it. I wouldn't have been surprised. But the way they handled it, it's racist. And I talked to many lawyers here. I talked even to the Human Rights Commission here. And they told me it's racism. So It's very, very hard. And I'm sharing this mainly for my friends to learn from, but with other people as well, because I know there's other people learning from me. It's a very, very different culture here, very different and very difficult to navigate, because the way we follow things is the way we follow things from the Bible. There's nothing wrong with going and leaving a box of chocolates for someone, especially if the whole team has said yes, they've accepted it. There shouldn't be anything wrong with that. So this is just to give you some ideas. And in that 12 years that I've been unemployed, because I've just been sitting at home, I went out and I volunteered, because at least I can put that on my resume. I can show that I'm a good citizen of this country, that I'm looking for work, I'm trying to pay my bills. And that's important in our lives, because that next job may not come for me here. Maybe I'll get an offer from Spain. I have friends in Spain. I have friends in Ireland. I have friends in Australia. So if you want to take it as showing off, you can take it that way. But for me, it's a matter of survival. It's a matter of life and death. So, and it's also very frustrating and very embarrassing when you are over 50 and you have to keep asking people for money, you have to keep asking your relatives, you have to keep asking for food from the food banks. And yeah, you know that it's the circumstances, you know that that's what the whole country is going through, but it still is frustrating. So that's what I wanted to share for today about how I got my volunteer positions and what I did, so that if you want to do it, you can go ahead and do it. Over here in Canada, they also advertise. They advertise on Volunteer Toronto. You can go on there and look. The Red Cross is another one I've helped. They also advertise. All the organizations, the big organizations, they look for volunteers. I've helped at the Daily Bread Food Bank. I've helped at all these places. But like I say, it's ridiculous. It's not like I have small children at home to look after. I need to be in the house. I need to stay at home. It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating. But that's how it goes. That's how it goes. So in the morning, I try to spend my time first. When I wake up, I spend time in prayer. Then I read the scriptures. And then I check, because my friends message me every day. I check my WhatsApp, then my emails. And then I spend time at church, and then I come home and I apply for jobs. But yeah, it's who you know that ends up getting you a job. So if you guys know people in Spain, in Australia, in Ireland, put my name forward. Because, I mean, this really, for me, it's a waste of a life to sit at home like this every day. And it's been going on for 12 years. This is over 2 years now. And when I talk to people that are in senior positions at PMO, they're telling me that, oh, most of those jobs are ghost jobs. They're not real jobs. They're just like they're doing some research and stuff. So even if you're applying, it doesn't mean it's a real job. So no one has a way of knowing whether the jobs are real or not, that they're advertising for their research. And I've met other people who are telling me that it took them 3 years to find their positions. In America, it takes people a month, less than a month, to find a job. Whatever job it is, in retail, in office work, it takes them less than a month. And in Canada, it's taking over 2 years. So that shows you the difference between America and Canada. If people want to work, we should be able to get jobs. But oh no, the exact opposite is happening here. So that's all I can tell you about the volunteering. I'll do my reflection later on the scriptures. And everybody is, whoever is in the faith, everybody's involved in spreading God's word. It's just sad for me because Regis College trained me and they don't help me to get any work. Even the retreats and things that I've led, they have not been from here. They have been from the Jesuits in Scotland. It's not from here. They don't call me to help with anything, whether it's paid or unpaid. So that's unfortunate. But anyway, that's how it goes. And the 31st is the feast of St. Ignatius. So I'll go to my local parish, or I'll watch the Mass online, participate online. But I don't go to the college unless they send me a special invitation. I don't go. So once I graduate, I move on. Just like with Fitz and Trinity House. When I get the invitations, then I go.